Hola a todos, bienvenido a mi canal. Te invito a que te suscribas y voy a aprender alemán.
To a female participant. Here, eine Teilnehmerin to a female participant is the feminine dative form. So, eine Teilnehmerin, a female participant, becomes eine Teilnehmerin. Now let's take a neuter noun. Ein changes to einen. For example, die Lehrerin erklärt einem Mädchen den nächsten Schritt. The teacher explains the next step to a girl. Here, einem Mädchen to a girl is neuter. So, ein Mädchen, a girl, becomes einem Mädchen. Now notice the connection to the definite articles. Masculine, dem, matches einen. Feminine, der, matches einer. And neuter, den, matches einen. So the shortcut is masculine and neuter share einem, while feminine uses einer. Now, one important point about the plural. German has no plural form of ein or eine. There is no indefinite article that means some in the same way that ein means a/an. For indefinite plural nouns, German can simply use the noun without an article. For example, die Schule bietet Eltern kostenlose Beratung an. The school offers parents free advice. Here, Eltern, parents, is plural, but there is no indefinite article before it. So the core map is masculine, einem,
Hola,
feminine, einer,
hello,
neuter,
hello.
einem, plural, no indefinite article. Once you connect this pattern to dem and der,
¿Cómo vamos? ¿Cómo están? Estoy aprendiendo alemán. Poquito difícil, pero a mí me parece que aprender japonés es más fácil que aprender alemán. Yo hablo inglés, estudié el francés, pero a mí se me olvidó y estoy volviendo a estudiarlo en mis tiempos libres.
The indefinite forms become much easier to remember. Very good. Now let's look at possessive articles in the dative case. Words like mein, my, dein, your, sein, his, ihr, her, and unser, our, also change when they stand in the dative. The easiest way to understand the pattern is to start with mein. Let's begin with a masculine noun. Mein Bruder, my brother, becomes meinen Bruder, to my brother. For example, der Arzt verschreibt meinem Bruder ein neues Medikament.
Der Arzt
The doctor
prescribes
prescribes a new
meinem Bruder
medication
ein
to
neues
my
Medikament.
brother. The masculine ending is m, so we get meine, my in the masculine dative. Now look at a feminine noun. Meine Nachbarin, my neighbor, becomes meine Nachbarin, to my neighbor. For example, ich bringe meiner Nachbarin morgen die geliehenen Bücher zurück. I am bringing the borrowed books back to my neighbor tomorrow. The feminine ending is r, so we get meine, my in the feminine dative. Now let's take a neuter noun. Mein Unternehmen, my company, becomes meinem Unternehmen, to my company. For example, die Versicherung schickt meinem Unternehmen eine schriftliche Bestätigung. The insurance company sends a written confirmation to my company. Masculine and neuter share the same
Pero
ending.
aprender inglés,
So,
yo aconsejo que aprendan el inglés primero. Hello, how's it going? Do you speak Spanish? Estoy aprendiendo alemán. Estoy tomando un curso de alemán por YouTube.
both use meinem. Now look at the plural. Meine Großeltern, my grandparents, becomes meinen Großeltern, to my grandparents. For example, wir schicken meinen Großeltern eine Einladung zur Feier. We are sending an invitation to the celebration to my grandparents. The plural ending of the possessive article is en, so we get meinen, my in the plural dative. This gives us one clear pattern. Masculine, meinem,
Oh, hola. Yo soy de Colombia. Yo soy de Colombia. Te invito a que te suscribas. Suscríbete a mi canal. Hace contenido. ¿Cómo te llamas?
feminine, meine, neuter, meinem, plural, meinen. And the important thing is, you do not need a completely new system for every possessive article. The endings stay the same. Only the possessive word at the beginning changes. For example, deinem, your in the masculine or neuter dative. Seiner, his,
No. No conozco a Corea. Sé cuál es la serie, pero no la he visto.
in the feminine dative, ihrem, her in the masculine or neuter dative, and unseren, our in the plural dative. So the real shortcut is masculine and neuter, m, feminine, e, plural, n. Once you know these endings, you can apply them to many different possessive articles. That is much easier than memorizing a separate table for every word. Excellent! Now let's look at the personal pronouns in the dative. Just like articles, personal pronouns also change their form when they have a dative role. Let's see the complete map. Ich to mir, I to me or to me, du to dir, you to you or to you, er to ihm, he to him or to him, sie to ihr, she to her or to her, es to ihm, it to it or to it, wir to uns, we to us, ihr to euch, you plural to you or to you, sie to ihnen, they to them, and sie to ihnen, you formal to you. Notice two useful patterns. Er, he, and es, it, both become ihm, and the two forms that look almost the same are ihnen, to them, and ihnen, to you formal. The capital letter shows us the formal form. Now, let's use some of these pronouns in real sentences. Der Techniker erklärt mir die neue Funktion. The technician explains
Hola.
the new function to me. Here, mir shows who receives the explanation. Now look at Kannst du ihr bitte die Adresse schicken? Can you please send her the address? Here, ihr refers to a female person. Now another example. Ich bringe euch später die Eintrittskarten. I will bring you the tickets later. Here,
Ich bringe
euch
auch
refers
später
to more
die
than one person we are speaking to informally. And look at
Eintrittskarten.
Wir zeigen Ihnen morgen den Veranstaltungsraum. We will show them the event room tomorrow. Here, Ihnen refers to several people. Finally, in a formal situation, we can say Die Personalabteilung gibt Ihnen weitere Informationen. The Human Resources Department gives you further information. Here, Ihnen is the formal dative pronoun. So the important map to remember is mir, dir, ihm, ihr, ihm, uns, euch, ihnen, and ihnen. These forms let us talk about the person connected to the action without repeating the full noun every time. On the next page, we will see exactly how a dative noun phrase can be replaced by one of these pronouns. Perfect. On this page, we take the next practical step. Sometimes a full dative noun appears in one sentence, and after that, we do not want to repeat the same noun again and again. So instead, we can replace the dative noun with a dative pronoun. That makes the sentence shorter, more natural, and easier to follow. Look at this example. Ich erkläre dem Praktikanten den neuen Ablauf. I explain the new process to the intern.
Hola.
Here, dem Praktikanten, to the intern, is the dative noun. If we do not want to repeat it, we can say Ich erkläre ihm den neuen Ablauf. I explain the new process to him. So, dem Praktikanten becomes ihm. Now look at a feminine example. Die Teamleiterin schickt der Kundin die Bestätigung. The team leader sends the customer the confirmation. Here, der Kundin, to the customer, is the dative noun. We can replace it with ihr and say, die Teamleiterin schickt ihr die Bestätigung. The team leader sends her the confirmation. So, der Kundin becomes. Now let's take a plural example. Der Musiklehrer zeigt den Kindern ein neues The music teacher shows the children a new song. Here, den Kindern, to the children, is plural. So we replace it with ihnen, and we get der Musiklehrer zeigt ihnen ein neues Lied. The music teacher shows them a new song. So den Kindern becomes ihnen. This is the key idea for the page. First, spot the dative noun. Then ask which dative pronoun matches it. Masculine or neuter person or noun can become ihm. A feminine noun can become ihr, and a plural noun can become ihnen. So think in a simple before and after
La
pattern.
gente,
Full dative noun first, dative pronoun after that. We do this because German does not like heavy repetition. Once the listener all knows who we mean, the pronoun is often the better choice. So the goal here is not only to know the list of pronouns, the goal is to use them naturally, to replace a dative noun, and to make your sentence lighter and smoother.
vamos
Brilliant!
gente.
Now let's compare three important question words. Wer, who, wen, who/who, and wem, to whom. These three words do not ask the same question.
Disfruta de Suavitel Complete, con su fórmula avanzada que extiende la vida de tu ropa.
Estoy aprendiendo en alemán.
Completo y fragancia ultra fresca todo el día. Prueba el todo en uno más completo.
Cuida cachao.
Aproveche ya no hay excusa. Por fin logré convencer. Sacaron una nueva lata de Amper, 310 mililitros, 2.000 pesos, dan el tamaño. Es que la verdad, Amper es muy duro. Ahora Amper tiene dos, la de 3.000 y la de 2.000. Ya la diferencia. ¿Cuál elige? La edición de mango, la edición blanca, vean los diseños tan increíbles, la presentación. Ustedes, qué belleza. Ya todo el mundo puede probar Amper, 310
Ese tipo.
mililitros, 2 luquitas.
Aprender alemán no es fácil.
Cada pedido, cada envío, cada cliente.
About a different job in the sentence. Let's begin with wer. We use wer when we ask about the person doing the action. That person is in the nominative case. Look at this example. Wer bringt morgen die Unterlagen ins Büro? Who is bringing the documents to the office tomorrow? Here, wer asks about the doer of the action. The answer could be meine Kollegin bringt morgen die Unterlagen ins Büro. My colleague is bringing the documents to the office tomorrow. Now let's move to wen. We use wen when we ask about the person directly affected by the action. That person is in the accusative case. Look at this example. Wen hat der Arzt gestern angerufen? Whom did the doctor call yesterday? Here, wen asks about the person receiving the action directly. The answer could be der Arzt hat gestern den Patienten angerufen. The doctor called the patient yesterday. Now let's look at wem. We use wem when we ask about the person who receives something or is connected to the action indirectly. That person is in the dative case. Look at this example. Wem zeigt die Verkäuferin das neue Modell? To whom is the saleswoman showing the new model? Here, wem asks about the person receiving something. The answer could be Die Verkäuferin zeigt dem Kunden das neue Modell. The saleswoman shows the customer the new model. So, now we have a clear contrast. Wer asks for the doer, wen asks for the direct object, and wen asks for the dative person. So think in this simple map. Who does the action? Think wer. Who is directly affected? Think wen. Who receives something or is indirectly involved? Think wen. That is the key to choosing the right question word naturally. Great progress! Now let's bring everything together and learn how to spot the dative, dative case, inside a real sentence. The easiest method is not to start with the ending. Start with the meaning. Ask yourself, is there a person who receives something, benefits from the action, or is connected to it indirectly? If yes, that person may be in the dative. Then move to the second step. Check the form. Let's look at an example. Der Hausmeister öffnet der Besucherin die Seitentür. The caretaker opens the side door for the visitor. First, look at the meaning. The visitor benefits from the action. Now check the form, der Besucherin, for the visitor. The article der is one of the definite dative forms, so meaning and form point in the same direction. Now look at ein Nachbar leiht einem Studenten seine Leiter. A neighbor lends his ladder to a student. Who receives the ladder? Einem Studenten, a student, or to a student. Now check the article, einem. This is an indefinite dative form. So again, the role and the form work together. Now take a possessive article. Die Agentur reserviert unserer Gruppe einen separaten Raum. The agency reserves a separate room for our group. The group benefits from the reservation, and unsere Gruppe, for our group, has the feminine dative ending er. Possessive articles can therefore give us another useful clue. And sometimes there is no article at all. Look at Meine Kollegin druckt mir die Unterlagen aus. My colleague prints the documents for me. Here, mir, for me, is already a dative pronoun. So when you see a form like mir, dir, ihm, ihr, uns, euch, or ihnen or ihnen, you already have a strong dative signal. So your decision path can be very simple. First, check the meaning. Is there a receiver, a beneficiary, or another person connected indirectly? Second, check the form. Do you see den, der, den, or einem, eine, or a possessive ending such as em, er, en, or a dative pronoun? If the meaning and the form match, you have a very strong clue that you found the dative. And remember, do not identify the dative only by position. A dative element can appear in different places inside the sentence. Its grammatical job is more important than where you see it. So the practical method is meaning first, form second, then confirm the role. That is how you can spot the dative much more confidently inside real German sentences. Exactly. Now let's read the dative case inside complete real-life sentences. The goal here is not to learn a new rule. We are simply going to find the dative element and understand why it has that role. Let's begin with a definite article. Die Projektleiterin erklärt dem neuen Mitarbeiter den Ablauf. The project manager explains the procedure to the new employee. Who receives the explanation? Dem neuen Mitarbeiter. To the new employee. This person is connected to the action as the receiver of the information. So this phrase is in the dative, and the form dem is another clue. Now look at a possessive article. Wir schicken unserer Vermieterin morgen die unterschriebenen Dokumente. We are sending the signed documents to our landlady tomorrow. Who receives the documents? Unserer Vermieterin. To our landlady. The role points to the datives, and the ending er on unserer helps confirm it. Now let's look at a plural noun. Die Trainerin verteilt den Spielern nach dem Training neue Trainingspläne. The coach distributes new training plans to the players after training. The people receiving the plans are den Spielern, to the players. Here we can see the plural dative pattern. Den plus Spielern, with the extra n on the plural noun. And finally, the dative can appear as a pronoun. Mein Bruder bringt mir vom Wochenmarkt frisches Obst mit. My brother brings me fresh fruit from the weekly market. Who benefits from the action? Mir, me, for me. This time we do not have a full noun phrase.
Hola,
The dative.
hello to everyone. How's it going? ¿Cómo vamos, gente? Hablo inglés y español y un poquito de alemán y francés. De hecho, yo estudié el francés, pero a mí se me olvidó todo. Tengo que estudiarlo otra vez. Mandarín, dices. No sé hablar chino. Bueno, sé ni hao, que es hola. Ni hao. No, pero yo no hablo chino. Solamente me sé ni hao, que es hola.
Role is carried by the pronoun itself. So these sentences may look different. Dem neuen Mitarbeiter, a definite article phrase, unserer Vermieterin, a possessive article phrase, den Spielern, a plural dative phrase, and mir, a dative pronoun. But the question behind them is similar. Who receives something? Who benefits? Who is connected to the action in this indirect role? Once you find that person, look at the form. That combination of meaning and grammar form helps you recognize the dative inside longer German sentences. And from here, we are ready to look at an important next step: verbs that naturally connect with a dative person.
Hola.
Great. Now we are moving to an important new idea about the dative. So far, We have often seen the dative with a person who receives something or benefits from an action, but that is not the whole story. Some German verbs simply require a dative person. The verb itself decides which case that person takes. So even when there is no object being passed and no obvious receiver, the person can still stand in the dative. That is why it is useful to learn certain verbs together with their case. Think of them as one package. For example, helfen plus dative, to help someone.
Hola,
A useful learning pattern is
estoy aprendiendo
jemandem
alemán.
helfen, to help someone. The word jemandem, someone, in the dative form, shows us the structure that belongs to the verb. Another example is danken plus dative, to thank someone. So we learn jemandem danken, to thank someone. Notice something important. English does not usually show us this case difference. We simply say help someone or thank someone. But German grammar still gives that person a specific case. So we should not only ask, is this person receiving something? We should also ask, does this verb naturally require the dative? That is the key idea for this lesson. Some dative roles
La gente, tengo una carga de esto. Mierda. Hola, estoy aprendiendo alemán, pero es difícil. Se habla inglés, un poquito de francés, ajá, y el alemán, pero está cabrón.
come from the
Está
meaning
cabrón.
of the situation. But with certain verbs, the dative is simply part of the verb's pattern. So from now on, do not learn only the verb. Learn the verb and its case together. Helfen plus dative, danken plus dative, and other important verbs we will meet step by step. Once you learn these combinations as complete packages, building correct German sentences becomes much easier. Nice work! Now we need a practical way to find the dative person with these verbs. A very useful tool is the question wem, to whom. We already know this question word, but here we are going to use it for a specific purpose, to discover which person belongs to the dative verb. Look at die Mitarbeiterin antwortet dem Kunden noch heute. The employee will reply to the customer today. We know that antworten, to answer, reply, is connected to a person. To find that person, we can ask, wem antwortet die Mitarbeiterin? Whom
La
is the
people.
employee replying to?
Vamos.
The answer is dem Kunden, to the customer. So, dem Kunden is the dative person in the sentence. The question wem helps us find that role. Now look at a completely different verb. Die neue Arbeitszeit passt und
Nueva colgante total Whitening. Con su fórmula superior, remueve las manchas de tus dientes y crea una protección antibacterial por hasta 24 horas, manteniendo tu sonrisa más sana y más blanca. Prevén problemas y manchas antes de que aparezcan con colgante total Whitening.
Llegas tarde a casa y te reciben con esa mirada.
Hola.
Todos tenemos límites, pero existe Hills.
Por generaciones, aliviando la pesadez después de comer. Alivio de Lua, alivio de una.
Todos los meses envío dinero de España a Colombia. Y con Global 66 lo hago en minutos, pago sin comisiones escondidas y con el tipo de cambio real. Así fácil como debería ser todo siempre.
Así está muy difícil estudiar.
Ja, gut. The new working hours suit our department very well. Here, there is no object being given to anyone, but the verb passen, to suit, fit, still connects to a dative element. So we ask, wem passt die neue Arbeit?
Hola, un saludo para Adrián. Hola, bueno, mi canal todavía no tiene un nicho así, pero tengo otros canales que es sobre, tengo un canal que es sobre mi perro, tengo otro canal que es de videojuegos, tengo otro canal que es de inteligencia artificial, pero este más personal. Estoy aprendiendo alemán.
Zeit sehr gut. Who do the new working hours suit very well? The answer is unsere Abteilung.
Sí, está en mi perfil. En mi perfil tú puedes verlo y sale el canal.
Our department, or to our department. That phrase is in the dative. So this gives us a very practical method. First, look at the verb, then ask wem, who is the person or group connected to it in the dative, and finally, check the answer. Does it appear with a dative article, a possessive form, or a dative pronoun? For example, den Kunden, unsere Abteilung, or forms like mir, me or to me, and ihnen, them or to them. So the shortcut for this lesson is dative verb, ask wem, find the person or group.
Bueno, gente, yo me despido. Gracias por ver el en vivo. Así que nos vemos.